the screen. Okay. So actually, the project of Plantica started 4 years ago in the talk or a speech that I gave in NATE in 2020. We called it Plantica 2020. We adjusted to Plantica 2024 because there were some significant progress, I would say, advancements. And now, 4 years later, we did our first steps, in line of the visions that was set in NATE about 4 years ago. So I'm glad to share it with you, and I will be very happy to hear from you your impressions, suggestions, complaints, whatever you have to say about the project, because it's really first steps, and everything will be beneficial. So let's start from the whole idea is to build really the future that we want. And what is the future that we want? I will talk about it a little bit in order to see if we are on the same line here. The future that what we are going to build here, based also on studies, many studies in many dimensions, I would say, that show that the social determinants of health are not only food. I believe that most of us here at least came because we share at least the interest in a plant-based diet, maybe whole food plant-based diets. Maybe some of you are raw plant-based, but I think that overall we are all sharing the plant-based diet passion. Okay, now the ones that join. So the whole idea here is to build a future that we all can be in line with. You can close right now the microphone, so it won't we won't hear any backgrounds. So just turn off the microphone. But if you have any question in the middle or anytime, just press the hand there. There is the icon. Press the hand, and I will be happy to attend to the questions. So you don't need to wait to the end. So if you have a question, please do it.
Cross presentation.
Sorry? Yeah. So so just turn off meanwhile the microphone, so we won't have any disturbance. So the whole idea here is that the determinants of health are not only food. As I said, there are many determinants of health, and they are exemplified here. You can see many of them, or maybe you cannot see because it's moving around, but you can believe me that there are many determinants that are dependent on the environment and where you live. I will stop it here so that you can see. So are many determinants that determine the health, but not only the health of the individual, I would say the health of the planet in general. So we are talking about health in general that is important from many aspects, not only plant-based. But I believe that I'm preaching to the choir here, because many of you that are plant-based also come from this perspective that not only food is important, but there are many other aspects, especially social aspect and connection and compassion and other stuff that or values that we are going to talk about. And that's bring me to talk about vision. What is basically a vision? And a vision is, if we look at the definition, is something that all of the group or the team or the community is aspiring to, is something that is a common purpose for the whole group. And it defines the organization, it defines the community by and large. This is the common goal of the community. So the vision is very important. It shouldn't be complicated. It should be quite short and to the point. But it will be open to the community or to think about if it is really the visions that everybody sees. So the visions that right now I put there, but it's open to discussion, or people may add to it or change it. But the idea is to make a difference in the world, creating a better, healthier, and more secure place for our descendants. Okay, so basically to leave a better world behind us. And so, of course, you can see if this is a vision that you really share, if you think that the vision need to be a little bit shorter, longer, or different. But that's a starting point. That's what I thought that it's a good starting point as a vision. But vision alone is not enough, because in addition to the vision, which is the guide purpose, this is the ideal for the community, there is what's called mission statement. And the mission statement is what are the actions that the community takes in order to achieve the visions. And this is the mission statement that I thought that will bring close to the vision. And this is building environmentally friendly, self-sustainable, socially engaged community. So this is the mission statement. Again, very short, concise, I hope to the point, and but it is very proactive. It's something that we can. It's action-wise and not something theoretical. So we know what we want to achieve. Building environmentally friendly, self-sustainable, socially engaged community. Now, in addition to the vision, in addition to the mission statement, this is the actions that the community and to take. There is something very important, that it's core values. What are the core values of the community? These are the fundamental beliefs that guide the community by and large. And this is, I would say, to break down the principles that the community believes in. And I broke it down. Again, all of those are dynamic things, but I started something, and I believe that we can add to, maybe subtract, maybe change some of those as we progress, as we move forward. So these are the core values, actually 10 core values that I identified. But again, some of them maybe can be merged together. Some of them may be split. Maybe we can add some. But one of the first one is environmentally friendly regarding energy and waste. Self-sustainability or sustainable in regard of energy, food, spiritual, which is very important. Each one of them I can elaborate, but we don't have the time here to elaborate because I want to put the emphasis somewhere else. Economically stable, both as individuals and community. Socially engaged, principles of co-housing, common vision and values. Healthy lifestyle, mind, body, and spirit, and that's relate also to the spiritual. Education, values, technology, and leadership. So we will see in a minute how it connects. Harnessing advanced technology, as opposed to many communities that going back on time, they want to go to our ancestors' way of living. We want to rely on advanced technology rather than going back on time. And leadership by example, intergenerational open community. We are not going to segregate ourselves and to be secluded from the world. On the contrary, to be open community and to enable others to see how a community of that kind can not only be self-sustainable, but can maybe influence and help other communities as well to choose healthier ways. And growing, continuously learning. This is very important principle. Continuous learning, creating, and replicating. So these are the values that I identified as important. But again, all of this is open, and some of you might think that it is some of them more important than the others. Some of you may think that something is missing, but I will be very happy to hear that. In my talk in the Veggie Fest, I sent a kind of a survey, and I saw that actually most of those elements were quite accepted by most of the people that participated there. But I will be very happy to hear if there are some other ideas from your side. What I would like to do here is more to concentrate on the design or more on the technical aspects and the human resources that we are talking about. So these are I would say, the background principles that guide us, which is very, very important. And that's why I started with this. But there are some other aspects that will be completely new, in my opinion, and that's why I chose to present this presentation. And we are going to that section right now. So that will be about the design, and these are the first steps of the design. So keep it in mind that we are talking in a very, very first draft. So we are talking about the design of this community, and I would like to share with you a little bit historic piece here, something that was written in a handwriting, and after that you see how it developed. So I think it will be very interesting historically. So the way that it started is by just drawing on a piece of paper this type of thing. So this was the way that this area or this Plantica was drawn in the first place. And I go quickly on that. So we are talking about geothermic energy and zero waste principles. These are remote control gates, so everything is fenced, so it's gated community in order to be the safe place for the community. There are rails that are very important and going through the periphery here. So we have triple rails. The outer one is for pedestrians. The middle one is for bikes, and the inner one is for light cars, preferably electrical cars. So these are the middle one. And then you have a hub, a central hub that include in it many amenities that we wanted to include there. First of all, big greenhouse, which will be completely automated all year round, and it will be temperature control and humidity and lights and everything. So it will be a big greenhouse, fully plant-based restaurant and gym, and a swimming pool, spa, lifestyle clinic and physio, educational center, recreational center as well, and a social and spiritual hall. So we have a lot of facilities, a lot of amenities inside, a central meeting hall and underground parking below, which you can see that there is a connection between the house and the underground parking of the hub. So there is and the idea was that it will be even underground connection, so it doesn't, people don't need to go in the midst of winter to go outside to the hub. They can go from the underground and to get into the parking. And this is the access road to the houses. Each houses will have access road from the inner, inner light cars, which so they can reach out with electrical cars or others to the house themselves. And then this whole thing came to develop into, I developed it in a PowerPoint presentation. So it's very interesting to see how we can translate it to PowerPoint presentation. Here you see the values that I mentioned previously, just as a reminder. But you can see this is the fence, so it will be probably easier to see how it looks like in a PowerPoint presentation. These are the remote control gates. Triple layers separated by trees between them. So we have, this is the outer layer, which is pedestrian, the middle layer, which is for bikes, and the inner layer for electrical cars. We see the hub, which will be 2 or 3 stories or floors, and underground parking, of course. So we have the big greenhouse, automated, fully plant-based restaurant, gym, swimming pool, spa, lifestyle clinic, and physio educational center, recreational center, social and spiritual halls, and as we said, central meeting hall and underground parking below. We have the access road from the road. We have access road to the underground parking. We have houses around, and the houses are can be accessed here directly. And you have the tunnels underground that connect to the hub. And of course, we shouldn't forget the green. There is a lot of green around. So we have a lot of green. And finally, we have, of course, the idea of the renewable energy. So you have geothermic energy, which we found the most reliable one. We have zero waste principle, educational, which is very important, and leadership. So all of this was created that was the second, I would say, iteration. After you saw handwriting, now you see how it looks like in a PowerPoint, which is, of course, much clearer. And this is how the hub is, if we want to look inside the hub, just in principles. So we see that we have self-sustainability, we have the greenhouse, energy, zero waste, financially self-sustainability, we have plant-based innovation, restaurant, gardening, cooking and environment, health center, which is holistic approach, natural clinic, physio, spa, swimming pool, gym. We have the education, which is very, very important to us in order that family can really raise children according to the principles of healthy lifestyles and be very connected, I would say, to practical principles of existence. And I'm not going to elaborate on that right now, but this is a full concept by itself. Recreational centers, and we have community centers for events, gathering, meetings. And so the hub is very, very central in the life of the community. So I'm going to show you some still pictures which are taken from different places in the world that try to go close to what we are going to do here, but none of them, to the best of my and others' ability right now or knowledge, none of them come really close to this vision. So the closest we could see is something like that. That was a place in the States that was designed to be like houses with renewable energy and a very central plant-based. Here you can see how it is look like open community project, natural building, sustainable living, closed loop system. You have here the principle described. You can see it from maybe a close-up to see how it looks like. This is some principles of energy, how the energy is generated. In this case, we are talking about solar panels. We are talking about geothermic, which is more reliable source of energy. These are the domes that are already exist, and we are talking about, it doesn't need to be necessarily like that, but just to show you the idea. This is 42 feet dome, and I'll show you some pictures from inside of the dome, how it looks like. So a lot of space and ability to sustain definitely plant-based community, and not only to sustain food-wise, but also relaxation and to have places for meditation and relaxation. So we are not talking about only food. So as you can see, there is a lot of place to innovation and creation in this hub. In addition, there is the swimming pool and there is the restaurant, which you can see, plant-based restaurant. There is the education, and there is education that based on, plant-based ideas, foods that plant-based. We have the gyms that we talked about. And basically the budget is not a limit. And why the budget is not a limit? Because as I can tell you, there are people that are very interested to invest in this project. So that's why budget is actually not an issue, because whatever the budget we need there, we actually work with others in order to invest in how much it will take. So we are not so worried about the budget for this project. What we are looking for is much more important about the right partners. And the right partners can come from different areas. And that's what I would like to concentrate here. And after that, I would like to show you how it looks like in reality. But the right partners are coming from the following three categories, I would say. And what I'm going to show you right now, I need to say it ahead of time, was generated by the aid of artificial intelligence. So it's a very thorough research that was done, what needed for such a project. So we have three categories that needed. One is a group that developing the land, a group that developing the community, and a group that developing the business. And most of the time we are talking about separate groups, very unlikely that one will belong to two of these broad categories. So just to show you what is included in each one of them, if we are talking about developing the land, these are the elements that are included. I'm not going to get into each one of them. We don't have enough time for that. But there are many elements that are needed in order to develop the land. And it further develop into subdivisions. So again, we are not going to get into it here. It's beyond the scope of this presentation. If we are talking about developing the community, so which might be even more interesting for you, is a lot of other parts. And again, there are subdivisions of each one of them, and we target all of them. We identify the right people for each of those elements. And finally, developing the business. Again, there are other areas that need to be addressed. And again, they are subdivided into other sub areas further. So I'm not going to bore you with all the small details. I just wanted to show you kind of an overview here. But what might be interesting for you is what level of involvement each one can take. So the level of involvement that we anticipate that will happen is two level of involvement. One of them is completely backstage. It means low level of involvement. And the other one is front stage, which is a higher level of involvement. In the backstage, we identify two levels of involvement. One is investor, someone that invests money and might not interested in anything else, and supporter. Supporter, it might be someone that just occasionally want to, give some advice or do something for the community. But again, this is low level of involvement. Front stage can be contractors that really work in the project, and it can be volunteers that want to volunteer time, and each one will get some benefit from doing it. So what are the benefits? We can see the contribution and the benefit in this slide. If we're talking about investor, the investor invests money in the project and they get shares and profit. This project is going to be for profit and is going to be profitable. We have business plan, everything will be profitable because communities are not based on profit, and we have a lot of experience from other communities, is not communities that is going to be sustainable. So it's going to be profitable. Supporters can be just non-committed, occasional help. They can help in distributing the message. They can help in participating in brainstorming. They stay in the loop. They will get updates, and they have some influence on how the project is going to look like. So this is the benefit for supporters. The volunteers are committed to a certain amount of time in a certain areas that they want to volunteer into, and they will get all the benefits of supporters. But in addition, if they are interested to live in this community, they will get certain amount of discount in purchasing a unit. And finally, we have contractors that will do the tasks in the unit, maintenance or building in the unit, and they are getting fee for service. So all of this level of involvement exists, and you can see it in the next slide, how it looks like. These are the development of, if you remember, the three levels, developing of the land. Everybody can be either a contractor or volunteer or supporter, and we can check which one he wants to be, if it is in the developing of the community or if it is in the developing of the business. So people can find themselves in different levels, different places, and that's the idea. So again, I'm not doing this in order to recruit people right now. The idea is just to give you the highlight, how it looks like. But I don't want to leave you only with the crude idea. I want to show you the next steps at how this project was built, because you saw several iterations here. The next iteration is a real idea that starts to form into real, I would say, structures. It's not only a vision, but the vision start to get formed. And when I'm saying the vision start to get formed in several levels, first of all, we have the land, and the land is what we have right now is 80 acres near Beaumont, which we purchased. When I say we, it's me and a partner that is both of us purchased this place, but we are looking for more partners to come. So we have this land that we are going to do all the things that we saw in the overview. And in order to make it more visual, I'm going to share with you a more clear view about how it looks like. So that's what you can see here in Plantica 2024. This is more or less, again, it doesn't need to look like that. Again, it is really a demonstration of the principles more than anything else. And the final result can be completely different. But this is a demonstration of the ideas that we discussed so far. I will show you in a larger picture right now. And I would like to show you even a video. How does it work in reality? I hope that it will work out in the sharing. So let's see if we can do that right now. If you want to share, first of all, let's start. What did you like? We will come to what you didn't like, but let's say what did you like? So I open it to your discussion. Anybody?
Hi, Steve. Liana here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really like the design and the sustainability, the self-sustainability aspect of things, and the values and mission are really good too.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Thank you, Liana. We're talking about what we liked. We, of course, will talk about what we didn't like as well, to be fair. But right now, anything that you liked, and I know it's too many things to grasp at once.
Okay, I had some comments. This is Bruce, not Kathy.
Hi.
It's very interesting, very idealistic. I had two points to raise. It reminded me a bit of the kibbutz movement. And I'm wondering whether there are any lessons to be learned from how kibbutzes have thrived or failed. And do you see that parallel?
Yeah. So you're not the only ones that mention it. There is some similarities, but I found it completely, I would say, even in contrast to a kibbutz. Because I don't know if anybody knows how kibbutz works, but kibbutz is a more communistic idea. It's something that financially they share, and they handle the whole asset as a communal. Here is a completely different approach. Everyone is actually individual, which we choose to share parts of our life. Whatever we want to share, we share. We don't share. But we have the opportunity to be social, but at the same time to keep our privacy to the degrees that we like. And that's the nice thing about it. Unlike in kibbutz, that people are in a way forced to live together and to contribute and to participate in the share. I would say in the shared asset of the kibbutz in general, and they need to take part in different kinds of tasks and so forth. Here it's completely, you are completely continue to have your life outside of the community and to do whatever you want inside the community, So there is a much more independency and freedom. And it's actually the capitalistic, I would say, version of a kibbutz, if you would like me to compare it to the kibbutz. The kibbutz is a communistic version, and this will be the capitalistic version of a kibbutz. The only things that might resemble kibbutz in that aspect is that people will be more connected to each other. And again, like-minded people. In the kibbutz, it's not like that. In the kibbutz, people can come and share, just live in the kibbutz. Almost whoever wants to come and live there. But here, it is specifically designed for people that have specific, I would say, ideology. And they share specific vision and value. And that's again, that's not resembling kibbutz in that sense. So if you say what we learned a lot from the failures of the kibbutz, and we learn how to build up something that won't go on the same footsteps of the kibbutz there. But I think that it was a very long answer to a short question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I'm a little concerned that we're relying.
We'll come to the concern. Right now,
okay.
I want to hear about the good thing, but definitely I'm not going to shut down the bad things that you think that it's not will succeed, or what you didn't like. That's completely okay. I would like to hear that as well. But right now, let's hear only the good thing.
Okay, well, another good thing, it kind of reminded me of the feeling that a lot of us have felt when you go to the Citadel into the atrium area, where it's very leafy, very green, very humid, and it's such a relief to walk in there, especially when it's winter outside, and it's a very nice space. It's a space where one would like to enjoy a restaurant, where maybe one might want to book a hall or have meetings, or to book weddings.
That's right. And which area you mentioned?
I'm thinking of the atrium in the Citadel Theater Complex downtown. It's fallen into disrepair, unfortunately, but it still, for me, remains an interesting model of a nice space that's very humid, very different from what you see outside. And it's a place where you want to linger. And so that would be a great space for kind of like a community league or community center environment, where people would want to go there just to relax, to have a coffee, go have a meal, maybe book meeting spaces, hold workshops there. And that would be kind of like an intermediate step to attract favorable attention, to attract interest. And with the rest of the land, instead of immediately progressing to building the community, maybe use the land for, say, soccer fields or baseball fields, so that people are familiar with it. They know where it is. They come to it often, and maybe after their event, they go to the community center and enjoy the food, the atmosphere. So I guess that would be an interesting stepping stone that I think still fits within your vision.
Thank you. Excellent. That's great ideas, and I marked it down. Thank you very much for that. Any other ideas or things that you think it works for you? It's a good thing to have.
I just like that, like a lot of like things that people need are kind of just all in one place. Cause like I feel like people are always stretched thin and feel like they can't work and spend time with their kids and have friends and have time to relax. It's like, I feel like because a lot of people are spending time driving, and I don't know, just like the efficiency and like the money saving it all. I like that. And then, yeah, I don't know.
Yes. So summer, right? So
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, and that was one of the ideas behind it, is to create a one-stop shop. Okay,
Mhm.
so people don't need to go far in order to have all the amenities within reach. They don't
Yeah.
need even to use cars for that.
Yeah,
As
less
you could
car
see,
usage too.
yeah, they have the
Traveling.
tunnels and they go there even in the midst of winter with the in their shorts, and they go to the hub and to have all their recreation and everything there.
Mhm.
So that was the idea. The idea is also that people from around the area, um, as Jeff mentioned, is they are welcome to come and to directly to the underground and to enjoy the place and the different amenities there. So
Yeah.
that's more or less the idea. Of
Mhm.
course, as Jeff said, it's ideal, and it might be that not everything will be we will be able to establish. Maybe yes, maybe some of it,
Yeah.
but this is, as we said, we shoot to the star, or we shoot to the moon, and if we miss, at least we will be within stars. So
Mhm. Yeah.
that's that's the idea. That's the idea in general. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm sure that as our nature is mainly to find why it's not going to work. And I'm familiar with that. As a person that was involved in many endeavors, I know that people would like to show why things don't work and what are the obstacles on the way. So let's hear that. Why you didn't like it, or why do you think it's not going to succeed, or whatever, which is completely okay. I'm welcoming that. Jeff, I think that you wanted to say something in that regard as well.
Were you referring to me?
Yes, I think you are not Jeff, right?
No,
What's your name? I don't think that you are Katie, right? So what's your name?
I'm Bruce.
Bruce. Okay. Bruse,
B
Bruce.
Bruce.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see.
I guess I'm skeptical that people can be allowed to come and go as they wish. I think there needs to be a greater commitment up front to abide by certain rules, for want of a better word, that if you want to be in the community, there are some responsibilities you need to provide in return, like contributing to maintaining the greenhouse, to participating in an association of members so that issues can be raised and discussed and resolved. So it just seemed a little too
Sorry to cut
unregulated,
you.
loose.
So to cut you, Bruce. I didn't go into it, but I don't know if you are familiar of the concept of co-housing. So the whole idea of course, everything will be there are some kind of guidelines and bylaws and other stuff that will regulate the whole thing. So people that are part of this community, they will need ahead of time to take part in different kinds of committees and to help in maintaining and other stuff. Of course, I didn't get into the details there, but of course it will go with that, because otherwise you don't have a community. Otherwise you have just a bunch of people that come and live together or next to each other. So yes, that's the principle, and whoever wants to know how it works, there are some. We have experience in many other communities that are working in a co-housing principle, and even in Edmonton, we visited one of those places that exist already, but not in the same ways that we described it. They are in the city, and there is a place that is co-housing. There is one in Calgary, but there are many more in Ontario and in BC. So we are learning how the co-housing principles work. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's not going to be just open like that everybody can come and live there. People are not going to be accepted freely. The community need to accept them because they need to abide by the same values and principles as the community live by. So that can legally the entities that they follow is called co-housing, and there is a legal entities that direct and guide how people in this type of community live. So I couldn't agree more to what you said right now.
Okay, and sort of following up one of my earlier comments and making it more specific, I think the project is too ambitious. It seems to go from a field to a community with all the amenities, and I think it's important to have a number of phases. And that's what I was trying to communicate before about how having a community center is a test ground. It builds positive publicity, it attracts attention, and once that phase has been a success, then you can fill it out and add successive phases that add housing, maybe add schooling, maybe increase the business of producing food, and maybe establish other restaurants in the same chain, maybe not inside the facility, but maybe outside the city to raise revenues and also raise attention. So I think a phased approach needs to be introduced here. It's too big a step.
Again, I couldn't agree more. We are not going to do all the things that you saw right now in one phase, for sure. There will be several phases. We actually going to talk with the engineer of the Leduc County tomorrow. So we are going to talk about the different kinds of phases that we are going to build it up. So it's what I showed you right now is the maybe end product, but it's definitely going to go through several phases. We are not going to jump directly to what you saw today. But again, I completely agree with that. There will be several phases until we reach that level that we talked about in the final vision.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else to say why it's not going to work, or maybe obstacle on the way, or why you didn't like it?
Hi, Ziv. It's Liana again.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. When we spoke, one of the values was veganism. How come it wasn't listed as part of the values?
Yeah, it was listed as plant-based.
Oh, okay.
It was plant-based, and it was the first one the first value actually. So the first value was about plant-based community. Okay, so we don't force anyone to be a complete vegan in this community, because otherwise maybe we will have one or two people. So we are talking about plant-based. So people that share the concept of plant-based, they don't need necessarily to be completely vegan, but at least they need to be plant-based. Yes. Other ideas that why this one, or maybe we need to improve it in a way.
I see another question about the.
Yeah, go ahead.
The electric cars. When visitors come in, do they have to be an electric car to go in, or will it be friendly for other types of cars?
Yeah, I think that these details need to be decided by the community. I'm not going to put. I didn't want to get into such a resolution.
Okay.
To say specifically which car, or if cars will enter or not. I think that's premature in this stage. But at least I mentioned it. I'm sure that you paid attention to that. I mentioned that we prefer, maybe we will have the electrical car, one or two for the community to use if they want to, to use it in the periphery for the areas that is around in order to reach different points in the community, so they can use the electrical cars that maybe will be common to all the members there. So that's one of the things that I thought about that will be in the underground parking. But I think it will be too demanding to say that anybody that enters this community must have an electrical car. I think it will be too restrictive. And I don't think that it needs to be that much restrictive, but probably to enter to the underground of the hub, it will be okay to come with a regular car, so people that come from the outside can reach that. But people that want to travel around in the periphery, they might need to use the electrical cars. So in that case, all the houses actually that this periphery circle them, they are, that there will be no cars around it, only electrical cars. So there are different kinds of roads there that only electrical cars probably would be allowed to drive. But to the hub itself, I think it will be good enough. Let's see. I think we can see the. I will show you. Probably, yeah. If you can you see the cursor over here? The
yes.
mouse. Okay, so if you can see, there are these areas here are for electrical car in the periphery. But this that comes from the outside and enters to the hub can be with cars. So it can come from here and it can come from here, and that can be for regular cars. So that can be an idea, and in that case, it won't pollute as much as possible the area. So that can be a compromise between the electrical car or regular cars. So yeah. So we were here. What is missing? Anybody wants to add something that might be missing in this concept?
Steve, it kind of sounds like the education piece, for example, schools.
Mm-hmm.
People with children might move in and they might have to, they might need that education piece to be in place. So are there schools nearby that they can take their kids to while that is still in development, or how is that going to work?
Yeah, so again, these are a little bit, maybe as Bruce mentioned, it will go in phases. So one of the phases will be maybe to use surrounded schools for the time being, but the final target is to have a school in the place, and to develop a school and kindergarten and all those things, all those facilities to serve the community. But it will be a phase that probably people can use schools that are in Beaumont or in the area. So it's very close by to Beaumont. It's a few minutes drive to Beaumont, actually. And so it's very easy to use it there. Or even Edmonton. It's, again, a few minutes from Edmonton. The location of this area was chosen in order that it will be close to the cities anyway. So people that work in the city can continue to work in the city. They don't need to commute so far, and they can continue to have a connection to the city, at least in the phases until this community get more independency. So that's basically the idea. Yes.
I had a question.
Yeah,
Another comment about what is missing. How many people would need to be involved in the community to make it viable? Well, what is the minimum and what is the maximum? What is your target population size?
We assume that it will be. It depends because we right now working. It's a good question, but right now we're working in discussing to work in another 80 acres that is nearby, so we can expand. But for the time being, it might be about 20, at least 20 families.
20 families.
Yeah, at least 20 families. But if we expand with the next lot near us and we share the same vision and so forth, it might double itself. But we are in the process to do that. But at least, that's why I said at least 20 families.
Yeah, that sounds very small.
Yeah, it is. But again, that's another difference between that and the kibbutz that you mentioned. We are not targeting to be a city there. It needs to be a small community because small community you can handle. If we start to be 50, 60, or 100, it will be really. It needs many more resources than what we have right now. So 20 families, it's reasonable. And by the way, the limitation of the lot per family is 2.5 acres, so it's quite a big lot, I would say. So that's is dictated by the county. So we are talking about 2.5 acres per family. So we are talking about big houses, and we are talking about quite nice place to those that can afford to be there. And that's again in a huge difference from the kibbutz. So yeah, go ahead.
You also mentioned multi-generational interactions or care. So would you be providing? Do you expect to see daycare or elder care?
Yeah, that's what I just mentioned. I don't know if you heard with the discussion with Liana, but exactly, one of the things that it's very much we try to incorporate in this area is a school and kindergarten and definitely daycare and those kind of things that will enable people in the community to be, I would say, more free and. How would I say it? To make sure that the children are in a safe environment, enrichment and educational environment. So that's one of the targets, and it was one of the values that we mentioned before.
Yes, just one final idea, and that is maybe another business as in addition to the restaurant that would bring in revenue and bring in attention would maybe to operate a kennel or a place where people could leave their pets and being a
that's in addition to the daycare. Yes.
Yeah.
It's similar to the daycare, but yes there are, and thank you Bruce for being so prolific I would say with your ideas, but that's exactly the idea. The idea is that this is a ground for a lot of creative ideas. And it's really an opportunity to people to contribute, to come and to do something that I think many people envision it or wanted to have, but so far they didn't have the opportunity to do so. And by coming together, several people that can do that, and with the right budget, and we are working on the budget, it can be accomplished. And that's what we are doing. But yes, thank you. This is one of the ideas to have, to enable the people that are there, either if they are children or pets or that they will have a place that they can, they are not going to be bound to the house and not move around. If they go to vacation or something like that, they know that they have a place to put their, not children, but the pet at least. Yes.
Hi, Steve.
Okay.
Will it be families only or singles as well? Like
as you could see, we are talking about intergenerational We are open. The whole idea is to open it up to whoever wants to come and abide by the vision and the values and so forth. So we definitely didn't discriminate in any way or shape anyone that wants to come, as long as they share the same vision. That's the main things that we would like to see. So it can be singles, it can be families with children, which we are most welcome. It can be elderly, it can be whoever really share the vision. Yes.
Hi, Ziva. This is Kathy.
Yes, hi, Kathy.
I'm here too. My question is about when do you expect that we would be able to see or understand the business model or the finances behind it?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for the question, because I'm the ones that are how to say it, very much into the business model in order to make sure that the business works. And we are right now, as we speak, as I said, we are meeting the engineer tomorrow, Sunday. So we are not wasting time. We are going to meet them actually very early in the morning, at 8 o'clock in the morning. We are meeting the engineer, and we are bringing together all the pieces in order that we will see the grand scheme. So we will know exactly how much we need to invest in this huge project. And of course, we will divide it into phases as we go. And as soon as we have all the pieces, we will put them together and we will build a business model. Because right now it's just to share the vision and the idea. But I can assure you that we are not going to move forward without having a clear business model. So we will have a business model, we'll know exactly how it works. I'm coming from a business education as well, besides medical education. So I know what does it entail in order to build up a business. So we are going to do that. Of course, we embrace anyone that wants to take part and to share and to probably to contribute in many ways into the business, either in advice or, of course, in investment, if they see that the investment is worth it. So we are definitely going to do that. But we cannot recruit investors without showing a clear business plan. And that's what we are going to do.
Okay, because when you said it was 2.5 acres per family, that makes me think that's going to cost a lot for people to purchase and to be involved in the community.
And that is completely true.
Yeah.
That is completely true. And again, this is in a completely contrast to what Bruce mentioned before about the kibbutz. So it's definitely will work this way. It might be that there will be some ways to build units that will make it cheaper to individual to live in. But again, this is part of creative mind. I can think about instead of someone that built a very big house for himself or herself or the family. So instead of building a kind of a really big terrace there, it can be maybe a multi-unit for people that cannot afford to build a big house. So it might be something of that kind on one of the lots, or maybe two. But it's something that need to be developed with time and to see how we can work it out. But yes, I agree with you. If someone wants just to purchase the 2.5 acres for themselves, it's going to cost quite a bit of money, because there are a lot of expenses involved in the development.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Yes, yeah, you're welcome. So, anybody wants to add the last word? Because I know that we started about 15 minutes late and I wanted to limit it to 1 hour. So I wanted to close soon. I just wanted to let you know exactly that. We are shooting for the moon, but even if we are going to miss, at least we land among the stars. And that's exactly the idea. That's what we really try to do here. And yes, it's a big project, it's a big idea, but we are not intimidated by that. We are, you know, every big idea started with small steps. So we are in the very beginning of this idea. And those of you who want to be in the loop or stay in the loop, you can continue to be in touch. You have my email. So be in touch, and if you want to be involved in any way or shape, you are most welcome to do so. I think it was overall it was really enjoyable to have you here. I'm glad that at least we have about 8 or 9 of you coming up. It was very short notice, so thank you very much for coming. I just sent it 2 days ago that I'm ready with this demonstration, but I wanted to do it before even we see the engineer tomorrow. So thank you very much for being there. And again, if you want to keep in touch, please do so. You have my email, and if you have any ideas, if you want to be more involved, you're most welcome. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for the clapping there.